We were together for 15 years. We were married for 7. It was a beautiful thing, and we still had, like, you know, the normal ups and downs. But I will say we didn't have a relationship where we argued all the time. Yeah. We didn't have a relationship where we were dealing with infidelity or stuff like that, you know, during those times. We didn't have that type of relationship.
So no infidelities. Just want to stop and say that. And of course, I have to talk through the video so I don't get a strike, okay?
So, because we were friends first, you know, so it was always like, that's my homie. It was just something in me as a woman. I cannot explain it to where.
Something in her as a woman.
It was like I was battling myself. You feel like I'm trying to do the right thing, but it's something that's pulling me away from doing this. But why would it pull me away from my husband? I'm battling in the midst of
something pulling her away from her husband.
That with religion, like with the people telling me at church and what I'm getting spiritual advice from, and then I'm battling with it with myself. Like, why am I feeling this way?
Why am I feeling this way?
I'm going to therapy for myself to figure out why am I feeling this way towards my husband. And the way I was feeling, it wasn't like I felt resentment towards him. It was almost like I was withholding a piece of me that I couldn't give him. I'm sitting on the couch and we had a small issue, and that small issue was back that pattern.
Back that pattern.
Now, you done went to therapy for this. We done had talks for this. I done talked to you. What did you get from this after I said? To make sure you understand, because I love to communicate. And I'm sitting on the couch, y'all, and I
listen, y'all. Listen to what she's about to say.
Kid you not. God told me that is not your husband.
Wow. So this video is from World Star, but I think this is from another channel. I'll give them credit. Let me find the other channel. So shout out to one of the cousins who sent this to me about the woman who says after being married 7 years, 15 years together, God told her that her husband was not her husband. What y'all think about that? God told this wife, show you my flowers, my husband sent to the job. God told her that her husband was not her husband. Okay, there you go. What y'all think about that? Shout out to our cousin that sent this to me. I'm sitting here doing my devotional, reading, making some donations, and I said, let me just jump on and do this video really quick. Come on back. I'm going to do Love is Blind. Should we do a live this morning? I don't know. We'll see. And I wanted to play this video really quick. For those of you who's going to complain in my comments about why don't I let the video play, is because YouTube strike our channel. So you can't talk through, either they will strike it or they won't approve it. So I stop every few seconds and say something so that YouTube doesn't strike the channel. You know, it's like I do this every time, and there's always somebody in the comment, just let the video play. So we're going to talk through the video now, right? Because she said, God said her husband, the one she signed the paperwork with, the one she stood in church and took vows with, the one she stood before God and man and took vows with, God told her that man that she's married to is not her husband. And I want to know what y'all think about it. Okay? So let's play the video again. And I didn't watch the interview on the other channel. I just wanted to talk through it here. Okay? So let's go ahead and talk through it. Excuse me.
We were together for 15 years. We were married for 7. It was
okay. So together for 15 years, married for 7. So that means of those 8 years, they were, I don't know, shacking up, living together, being friends. In my book, 23 Types of Guys You Might Meet, I talk about not being friends? What are you looking for? Do you want a friend or do you want a husband? And friendship takes a long time to build. You know, those of you who meet a man last week and today he's your best friend. I don't know. I don't understand. To me, best friend take years and years and years and years and years and years of building. Not just I met him last week. So married for 7, okay. Together for 14.
It was a beautiful thing, and we still had, like, you know, the normal ups and downs. But I will say we didn't have a relationship where we argued all the time. Yeah. We didn't have a relationship where we were dealing with infidelity or stuff like that, you know, during those times. We didn't.
So they have the normal ups and downs. And I think that's important to point out that in marriage, there are some ups and downs. What I don't like, especially about the Black church and a lot of people that talk about marriage, is they make it sound like marriage is supposed to be this struggle and you're going to go through every day, and it's not a bed of roses and it's not cookies and cream. But that's not what marriage is, right? Marriage is up, is down. It's just like anything else. It's just like your life. It's just like your health, right? There are things we deal with sometimes. I have allergies, and there's seasonal allergies and fall allergies and spring allergies and summer allergies. It's up and down, and there are things that you have to deal with, right? It's just a part of life because we live in a sinful and a fallen world.
Didn't have that type of relationship, so because we were friends first, you know, so it was always like, that's my homie. It was just something.
Okay, so she said we were friends first, and this is something people push: become friends with him first. Again, I talk about that in my book, 23 Types of Guys You Might Meet. And I asked you, do you want a friend or do you want a husband? Do you want a best friend or do you want a husband? And do you build a friendship with every man you meet? Like, I don't have time. Dating is for data. I'm trying to figure out, do we have things in common? Do we like each other? Do you want to pay all of my bills? Can I respect you? Can I honor you? She also said we were friends first, so you was my homie. And I really do have a problem with that, because for women, we have to respect our husbands, right? And so if you're homie, do you really respect him? I'm not saying don't be friends. My husband and I have been married going on 12 years. And we're becoming best friends. But my husband was not my best friend when I met him, because I had just known the man for a year. And his best friends were the friends he grew up with, that they're best friends today, godfathers to our son. If anything happened to me and Big Mike, Mike's best friends are over our kids' money, along with my friends. I'm not saying don't be friends, but I see this with a lot of women. Oh, I want to be his friend. And I'm like, that's your problem. You're trying to be friends with everybody, every man you meet. And you have all these people in your ear, and you're not really dating for data. You're trying to become his friend versus gathering data to determine if this man is good enough for you to spend the rest of your life with. She said he was my homie. I just, like, I guess I do understand being the homie, but when you're like, homie, do you really respect him? Do you trust his judgment? You know, because when we're homies, we both gonna make decisions. But because I respect my husband, I trust his judgment. And there's some things I don't trust my husband with. So my husband is cleaning out the basement, and because we're looking for a forever home, and we just want to, when we find the house, we're gonna move. We're not taking most of the furniture with us. We're getting all new furniture. And so he scheduled an appointment for the junk people to come to the bed. And I'm like, where they coming? I'm like, tomorrow. I'm not gonna be here. I need to be here. And he was like, no, babe, I was like, no. I need to be here. Because the day before, he asked me, do you need all those cups? And I'm like, yeah, I do, Mike. I do. I need all my cups. What you mean? I said, you know what? I don't trust you because you'll probably let the junk people take all of my cups that's still in the basement. So I told my husband, no, I need to be here when the junk people come to make sure you don't throw out my stuff. And yeah, sure, we were laughing about it and joking about it on the way to work. But those are cups. Do I trust him to make decisions like on the truck? Yes, I do. So while I do understand the whole homie situation, I just feel like you have this familiarity with him, but you don't really respect him. You see what I mean? Do you understand what I mean?
And in me as a woman, I cannot explain it to where.
Let me rewind that a little bit.
In it to where, and I cannot explain it to. Always like that's my homie. It was just something in me as a woman. I cannot explain it to where it was like I was battling myself. You feel.
So she said there was something in her as a woman, like she was battling herself. So what was it? What was it, ma'am, in you where you were battling yourself? Because the Bible talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So what was it in you that you were battling with? Where was the imbalance? Why were you double-minded that you were battling with yourself as a woman? I'm confused. What was it?
Like I'm trying to do the right thing. It was like I was battling myself. You feel like I'm trying to do the right thing, but it's something that's pulling me away from doing this. But why would it pull me away from my husband?
So she says she's trying to do the right thing, but there was something pulling her away from this. And why would it pull her away from her husband? Did y'all hear her? There was something in her as a woman that was battling, and it was pulling her away from her husband. But why would it pull her away from her husband? I mean, who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her what she was battling and what was pulling her away from her husband? Because it ain't God. It's not God where you were being double-minded, battling among yourself. Something's pulling you away, and something is pulling you away from your husband. Who's going to tell her that that was not God? That was not the Holy Spirit that's pulling you away from your husband. If anything, God wants you to become closer, not further apart. Who's going to tell her? Tell her in the comments.
I'm battling in the midst. Why would it pull me away from my husband? I'm battling in the midst of that with religion, like what the people telling me at church and what I'm getting spiritual advice from. And
so she said, I'm battling with it with religion. To me, if you're a born again Christian, you're not going to say religion. You'll never hear me say religion when I talk about my faith. So did you really know Jesus Christ for yourself, ma'am? What the people telling you at church? People telling you at church what? Are you talking to people about your marriage? Is there something going on in your marriage that you're talking to the people at church about your marriage? And what spiritual advice are you getting about what? Because you said y'all didn't have any problems. So if y'all didn't have any problems, what are you talking to the people at church and get spiritual advice on your marriage about? I'm confused, ma'am. So why is she feeling that? Oh, y'all wasn't seeing that. I'm sorry. Let me rewind that.
why am I feeling this way? I'm talking about from, and then I'm battling with it with myself. Like, why am I feeling this way? I'm talking about I'm going to therapy for myself to figure out why am I feeling this way towards my husband.
Why are you feeling this way towards your husband? That you're battling him, something's pulling you away from him. Religion at church is telling you, the spiritual advisor. I mean, she ain't said nothing in here that has Jesus to do with their God with. It just sounds all demonic and spiritual for me, because you know the enemy comes to fight marriages. He don't want marriages to stay together.
And towards my husband. And the way I was feeling, it wasn't like I felt resentment towards him. It was almost like I was withholding a piece of me.
Okay, so she said she wasn't feeling resentment towards her, but she was feeling like she was withholding a piece of her, which tells me something happened in the marriage. Because you don't, if nothing happened in your marriage, you have no reason to withhold anything from your marriage. Like, I trust my husband with everything, even my escape account, because he gives me money to put in it. But I trust my husband with my heart. I trust him with providing and protecting. There is absolutely nothing I don't trust my husband with, or I'm withholding anything. So, but if something happened in the marriage, right? If there's trauma, something happened, he did something, he cheated, he hit you, he did something for you to start withholding yourself because you don't trust him. I don't think this woman is being honest with us. She's not being honest. She needs to be honest.
I was withholding a piece of me that I couldn't give him. I'm sitting on the couch and we had a
So she couldn't give, I'm withholding a piece of me that I couldn't give him. But why? There's a reason behind it. He did something. But you're not telling us. You're not being honest. You're going to tell us you've been with this man for 15 years, but you're withholding something from him that you don't give him, and you ain't going to give him. Girl, bye. Let's hear. Here's the big bombshell here, y'all.
Almost like I was withholding a piece of me that I couldn't give him. I'm sitting on the couch and we had a small issue, and that small issue was back that pattern. Now, you done went to therapy for this. We done had talks for this. I done talked to you. What did you get from this?
Okay, so here she goes. She said, we were sitting on the couch. We had this small issue, and the issue was back to that pattern. So he did something. What was the pattern? What was it? Is it staying out late, cheating, texting a woman you're not married to in a cheating kind of way? What was this pattern? Was it getting up, going to work? Was he working too much? What was it, ma'am? You're not being honest with us. You're not telling us everything. It sounds like she's been struggling with something with her husband. There's an issue in the marriage that she's not telling us. You went to therapy for it. So that means there were trauma in the marriage. Like, why do you go to therapy? My husband and I, we believe in continual counseling. So we see our marriage counselor 3, 4, 5 times a year. But if you're just going to start going to therapy because there is a pattern, what's the pattern? What did he do? What did he do that you're going to therapy, you've talked to him, he's back to doing it again? You're not being honest.
We done had talks for this. I done talked to you. What did you get from this after I said it? To make sure you understand, because I love to communicate. And I'm sitting on the couch, y'all, and I kid you not, God told me that is not your husband. Wow.
That was not God. Let me rewind it if you didn't hear.
Make sure you understand, because I love to communicate. And I'm sitting on the couch, y'all, and I kid you not, God told me that is not your husband. Wow.
That's a lie. She's lying. That wasn't God. That was the devil. How is God going to tell you the man you're married to is not your husband? He didn't tell you this before you marry him. God did not tell you before you stood at his holy altar, took vows that the man you're about to marry is not your man. But 7 years down the line, he's going to tell you this is not your husband, ma'am. Use a lie. That was not God. That was the devil. So you're telling me you've been battling, you've been fighting, something's in you, pulling you away from your husband. And all of a sudden, this voice says to you that that is not your husband. Did not Jesus say a house cannot fight against itself? I don't think this woman is being honest. I think there's an issue. And y'all know I'm all for divorce. So if y'all don't over here, click off now. Cousin Sister Janice is all for divorce. Yes, I am. If he cheats on you and you choose to leave, I'm all for it. If he abuses you to the point, like my daddy said, the next time, not to the point, but my dad said the next time he hits you, he can kill you. Yeah, bye. Cheating, any kind of abuse, I'm out. Physically abused, emotionally abused, financially abused, I'm out. And I'm not talking about I wanted a purse and he didn't buy me a purse. That's not financial abuse. That's actually wisdom. I'm talking about giving you $40 to go to the grocery store to shop for a week's worth of grocery. But you knew that's how he was before. He didn't start being financially abusive. He was always financially abusive, but you were so delusional. Anyways, that's another conversation we're going to come back and talk about. I don't think this woman is being honest. She's talking about pattern, and now she want to blame God. Talk about God said that's not your husband. He is your husband. That man is your husband. So God is not going to tell you he's not your husband because you was already married to him. How is God going to tell you the man you're married to 7 years down the line is not your husband? He is your husband. You took vows. You signed documents. It's at the court. It's at Social Security. It's at the IRS. He is your husband. So God is not going to tell you your husband is not your husband. Now, I could understand if you was walking down the aisle and right before you say, I do, God says that's not your husband. That's something different. But use a lie, ma'am. God is not going to tell you 7 years later he's not your husband because he is your husband. We have the documentation. He is your husband. Use a lie. Just say you can't deal with whatever his pattern and he's whatever with. But do not lie on God and say, God said that's not your husband. God cannot come tell me Mike Thompson is not my husband. He's been my husband for 12 years. So how is God going to tell me this man is not my husband when I stood at God's holy altar, took vows, and signed the paperwork? When I went down to motor vehicles and brought my marriage license, and the man says, ma'am, you brought your marriage license, your last name is Thompson, and I wanted to keep Hylton to take care of Alexa business. And I said, can you hyphenate? He said, nope, it's too long. You brought your marriage license, use a Thompson. So my name on my license is Janice Thompson. You know why? Because Mike Thompson is my husband. Y'all, I got to go. I'm sitting here studying and working on some stuff. I love you. I adore you. Let me know what you think about this. Something pulling me. And I don't want to give him all of me. Why? You don't want to give him all of you because you don't trust him. Something happened. There's been trauma in the marriage. Say that. But don't sit here and act like God told you that's not your husband. That's a lie. Use a lie. That wasn't God. That was the devil. That was the devil. I got to go. For those who, October 11th is my birthday. Oh my God, did I show you all my t-shirts for me? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Thanks for your love and support, picking up my books on Amazon, leaving me 5-star reviews. I gotta write the Naked Husband book. But husbands are not naked, okay? I know a lot of you. And when you gonna write the Naked Husband book? Never. Because husbands are not covered, okay? Husbands cover their wives. I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.